Hello everyone, Mitch here again. Before I get started with my next video, I just want to thank everyone for all the comments over the last week and especially all the subscribers. I've literally gained like 700 subscribers in the last week and it's been awesome. I really appreciate it. Just makes me want to work harder and do more videos, and I look forward to the comments, and I'd say probably 99% of them are positive, and there's a few negative ones out there, but whatever. Everybody has their opinion, and yeah, I'll move on. So today I'm going to talk about a mission did in November 7th, 2010. We had a place that we went to frequently called Charkh, the Charkh district. And it was nestled down in the corner of a valley, probably less than a 10-minute flight to the south of Fobshank. Very interesting place. Very interesting place to have a little U.S. coalition base. The reason why I say that, because it was like right in the corner of bad guy land. The city or village or town of Charkh, whatever you classify it as, was full of bad guys, and just a consistent rocket attacks, IEDs, firefights down there. There were some days where just every day we would go down there 5-6 times a day sometimes. So it got pretty frightening, especially where the little base was situated. You could only land one aircraft in there, and to get in there you had to hover over the city, or at least like some farms, before you actually got over the base where you actually felt comfortable. However, on one side there were two mountains, that just two little peaks. I mean, I don't know if you really call them mountains, but these pretty large hills that were there. And pardon my language, but we called it the tits of Charkh. And the only reason I say that, because it looked like two giant boobs in the middle of flat terrain. So we used those, one, for a landmark, and for two, that was the safest way to get in there, we figured out, was to fly right through the cleavage. And you come through and just drop the tail and just set up a steep approach and come in there as quick as you possibly could. And this particular day, I was flying with my platoon commander, who I flew with quite frequently. At the time, he was a captain. Like I said before, I'm not going to name any names, but great guy, still a good friend of mine. So I want to say it wasn't like a serious injuries. There was multiple injuries. And matter of fact, I think I have it written down here. 3 litters and 1 ambulatory. So I guess it was 3 pretty serious injuries, and then 1 ambulatory. Ambulatory meaning they're injured, but they could still walk and they were functioning, whatever. So anyway, I was on controls that day on the left seat. And those that are wondering, we could fly from the left seat and the right seat. And basically how we did it was we'd switch every mission. So I'd start out in the morning. I'd say I'd fly left seat, and then the next mission we get, the pilot in the right seat would fly. And we'd just go back and forth, because the feel of flying the Black Hawk from both sides was extremely different. Because the only reason I say that, like if you're sitting on the left seat, I'm trying to remember correctly, it's been so many years, but one side of the aircraft sags down a little bit more, which if I remember correctly, is the left side. So if you're sitting on the left side, the left wheel is always going to touch the ground first. And then if you're sitting on the right seat, obviously it's still going to touch down on the left side, but it has a different feel. So plus you're getting, your vision is different from both sides. Obviously you have different blind spots. So it's good to fly from both sides. And then, like the next day we would switch seats completely. So the guy who was in the right seat the next day would sit on the left, and vice versa. So anyway, that day we were going in for that mission, and did the same thing. Like I just said, we flew through the cleavage there, did a steep approach, into the base and came in, as quick as we possibly could, safely. And one of the first things you did when you hit the ground was you had to set the brakes, because you didn't want to have the brakes set when you're going in, because depending on where you're at, you need some forward motion, or you could possibly roll it over. So put it down the ground and started creeping forward a little bit. And on the pedals, on the floor, on the top of the pedals, there's a flexible area that basically that's your brakes. So what you had to do is you push down, you push forward, and you hold it there. And then the guy in the other seat would reach up, and it's pretty archaic. We got a $35 million aircraft, whatever it costs. And you had somebody have to pull up on a handle, and then we'd release the pedals, and then they let go of the handle, and then the handle should stay up. Your parking brake is set. So this particular day, we do the same thing. And typically what I would do as I'm doing it, I would look over to make sure, they were actually doing it, watch them. And as I did that, I looked over. As soon as I turned my head, I heard a massive thump, and you felt a pressure change in the aircraft. And immediately I looked straight ahead, and there was a massive cloud of dust and dirt flying in the air. These bases are, including the ones we were at, were surrounded. Veterans that were over there, they'll know what I'm talking about, but HESCO barriers. And what HESCO barriers are basically like a galvanized fencing on all four sides, and they were hinged in the corners so it could fold flat. So when you open them up, it was a big cube basically, and then there was a massive burlap sack that went down inside. So you could stack them all up in a line and get like a front end loader and just scoop in rocks and sand and dirt. So voila, you got an instant massive sandbag. They were awesome to stop pretty much anything, because I forget what the actual dimension were, but probably 4x4 or 5x5. And so I looked up and saw the upper HESCO barrier, and they usually stack them on top of each other. The top one was just erupted in a massive blast of dust and sand. And the immediate response was from the back. If I remember correctly, it was one of the crew chiefs. He said, "What do you want us to do?" I was like, "Get the effing patience, because I don't want to come back. I'm not going to leave them here," because we were already on the ground. Other aircraft above us is loitering. And so here it is again, a month and a half in country, and I'm shot at once again. But really didn't know what it was at the time. So proceeded to get the patients in the aircraft and did an immediate, a fast takeoff. That hit at the 12 o'clock position off the nose. So I did not want to go that way. So basically it just picked up, did a pedal turn, and then right back through the cleavage there in Charkh. And so we got back to base, or went back to the hospital on Shank there, and dropped off all the patients. And so again, had to go shut down the aircraft, do a post-flight, and then go into the operations center and debrief again, because something happened again. So we started, talking to the intel guy, basically describing what happened and everything we could, as far as like what it looked like and whatever else. Obviously, we had no idea what the weapon system was. My initial thought was it was a mortar or something like that, or somebody was shooting an RPG. And so immediately they sent a team out to that clock position. I forget what the actual heading was, and do an investigation. And they did patrols and searches out there, and they found a recoilless rifle that was shooting basically from a living room of a clot being basically a stoned walled yard where somebody lived. So it's shooting from inside the clot at us. And that was when they came back to us. I think it was even later that day, maybe the next day. And once they determined what it was, and once they actually captured it, they brought us in and they told us it was a recoilless rifle. And at that point, it just kind of, my heart stopped. And you start thinking about it, like, well, there was nothing else right there other than HESCO area, aside from us. And so immediately I was like, holy crap, they were targeting us. And the way a recoilless rifle works, it's basically like an artillery piece almost that sits on a tripod, and somebody sits up next to it like a rifle, and with a scope, and they literally just point and pull the trigger. So start thinking like, boy, if they would have been a couple clicks higher and about a second earlier, that would have went right through our cockpit. So that was pretty frightening. And so the 600 other times we went into Charkh, of course, it was pretty terrifying. And I know we went for a pretty good stretch where anytime we went into Charkh, where the Apaches would be present, they'd come with us. Of course, like I mentioned before, we were spread out all over the country, and a lot of times the Apaches were unavailable. No fault of theirs whatsoever, but it was just, we only had a couple of Apaches that were working that day, and they were busy off attending to other guys, so unfortunately, that's not going to stop people from getting injured or dying. So we had to go. And at least the good part is once we got inside the walls, we were somewhat protected inside there, unless somebody was to arch some mortars over the wall. But yeah, that was that mission. It was pretty frightening. Unfortunately, I'm sure you've seen some of my helmet camera videos that I put out. This particular day, for some reason, I decided I was going to mount my helmet camera on the dash, looking to the rear of the aircraft, to just get that view while I was flying. I thought it'd be pretty cool. And so because of that, I didn't get any of it on video. And then when I actually got back and I checked the video to see, our facial reactions and stuff like that, unfortunately, so much vibration from being mounted on the dash, it was unwatchable. In fact, I don't even think I saved it. I deleted it. It was just totally trash. And the helmet cameras we used at the time, they were made by a company called Contour. GoPros were out, but GoPros on the side of a helmet is just too large. The Contours, they sat flat up against the helmet. Actually, I think I have it over there, but I can't go grab it right now. And it was super easy, and it stayed on. Literally, you just push the button on the back and you slide it forward, it starts recording. So you knew every time that it was recording. And honestly, I think it was a better design than what GoPro has, because anybody that's ever played with a GoPro before is you push the button to record it, and if you were wearing a helmet or hearing protection like that, you can't hear it beep to know if it's actually recording. This, you just slid it forward and you knew it was recording. Everybody started flying with them. So, I mean, some of the helmet camera footage I have from both seats at the same time, which is pretty cool. But anyway, please continue the comments, and please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And if keep reaching out with questions or comments, and just try to stay positive. If you don't have anything positive to say, I just prefer you swipe the video to the left. All right? So, all right, take care, everybody, and till next time.